Hey guys, I want to talk a little bit about digital storytelling. So basically, what that is when students become the creators, they get to show you their creativity and take ownership over their learning. And it's kind of an alternative to a simple PowerPoint presentation or research project. And really, what it does is it allows students to communicate their understanding of a topic and break free from the typical assignment. When you talk about digital storytelling, that means things like images and music, text and voice. And then they should really be personal stories a lot of the time. The best stories are those that display student voice and really tell a story. And then as far as what it can be used for, it's good for any subject. Anytime there's a moment in which students should be demonstrating learning, this project works really well for. As far as how you incorporate something like this, there are some steps you need to take. The first step you can take is really figuring out your objectives. For you as the teacher, you want to figure out what you want students to learn, like any lesson. If you want your students to have a certain focus, you need to determine that from the start. And then once you have your idea for this project, try it out yourself. And really knowing where your students will be struggling and being able to give them tips is really useful. And then once you've gone through these steps, you can kind of show a model of your work to students, and that's where a lot of the fun can start. But as far as students go, this model that I have here on the screen is a lot of the model that you'll want to follow, and how you have students kind of go through the process here. So what that means is that when it comes to this actual model, you're going to want to start off by having them kind of come up with an idea or write a proposal for it. You want to know that they know what they're doing. So they need to figure out what they want to write about. So that also goes back to knowing what your focus is going to be. And then students after that should kind of start researching everything. And that's really important because depending on the topic, it could take a while. If they're exploring a new topic, the research could take some significant time. So it's important to give deadlines to keep students on track. And making sure that they stay organized is really important here too. And then the next step is to be writing a script. So students should really have some sort of form to follow, whether it be just a written piece of work with notes on it, or it could be a, scripted dialogue for what they're going to say. Depending on how loose you kind of want the assignment to be, these can vary. Sometimes it can be really beneficial to have students do a script that is very limited so that they can kind of ad-lib things. As far as the step 4 goes, it's good to kind of plan out what you're going to do when it comes to the actual project. And with the digital storytelling, it's important that they kind of plan out what they have in mind. This is a smaller step because they usually have an idea after they've figured out their script, what they want to do with it. But it's important for them to kind of think about what they're going to be doing. And that leads us to step 5, which is about getting the images, audio, and video together. So knowing where things should go and then putting it into context and then really putting it into whatever they're using is really important. And then step 6 is putting it all together. So this is where you have some problem shooting probably. It can take a while to learn the different types of things you need to do to be able to convey that story. And then when you get to step 7, that's going to be sharing it. So whether that be coming up with, just the class presenting to each other, but if you can actually figure out, if your district allows sharing beyond that, it would be really cool to have outsiders kind of view their stories, especially using it in the context of other teachers being able to use it. If you have a class website of some sort, these would be really cool to see, and the students can go back and kind of find them later. It's just something that they can be proud of, and I think they work a lot harder towards producing something really great. And that leads us to the last step, which is just feedback and reflecting. It's really important that these students get feedback and really think about what they've learned. So having them figure out what they have gotten out of this is really important, not for just you, but for them as they go into the future. So hopefully that's helpful in how you create your own digital storytelling project.